Have you ever noticed how traders obsess about the next candle, the next trade, the next market setup, as if certainty is just around the corner? They sit on the charts, hypnotized by moving numbers, convinced that if they just analyze enough, study enough, predict enough, they'll finally tame the market. And yet, Nassim Taleb's book, The Black Swan, tells us a brutal truth. The events that move the world, and yes, the events that move markets, are not the ones you think you can predict. They are the ones that blindside you. And here's the shocking part. Most traders have read or at least heard about the Black Swan, but they miss the only truth that really matters. The truth that could have saved them from blowing their accounts, chasing accuracy, and living in cycles of euphoria and despair. I'm not here to summarize Taleb's work. You can read it yourself. I'm here to tear open the blindfold most traders wear when they approach markets and show you how the philosophy of uncertainty, the philosophy of rare, life-altering events, is not a fancy theory, but the brutal operating system of the market itself. And I'll make you see what 99% of traders missed when they skimmed the book or quoted it in a trading group. Let me start with a confession. Every trader wants to feel in control. That's why indicators sell. That's why prediction services sell. That's why so-called signals sell. The idea that someone can see what's coming is addictive because it speaks to your need for certainty. But here's the paradox. Markets are driven by events no one sees coming. In 2008, banks that thought they had ironclad risk management evaporated. In 2020, a virus changed the entire structure of global trade overnight. In currencies, a central bank's surprise decision can erase weeks of technical structure in seconds. These are black swan events, and yet the typical trader ignores them. Why? Because they're uncomfortable. They destroy the illusion of control. But Taleb wasn't just writing about unpredictable rare events. He was teaching us how to live in a world dominated by them. The real lesson, the only truth traders miss, is that you don't survive and thrive by predicting the unpredictable. You do it by designing for resilience, by structuring yourself to benefit when uncertainty strikes. Now pause with me for a moment. Think about your trading. Think about how much of it is built on this hidden assumption. Tomorrow will look like yesterday, that the patterns you saw last week will play out the same way this week, that volatility will behave the same, liquidity will behave the same, spreads will behave the same. But then comes the shock, the one you didn't plan for, and your structure crumbles. Taleb was warning against this exact blindness, what he calls the narrative fallacy, our tendency to impose a story of predictability on chaos. And traders are guilty of this every single day. What most traders missed in the Black Swan is that Taleb wasn't telling you to despair. He wasn't saying throw your hands up and quit trading. He was saying build differently. Structure yourself for the unexpected. It's not the presence of black swans that ruins traders. It's the absence of preparation for them. Let me make this practical. You've probably been told that risk management is important, but let's be honest. Most traders treat risk management like an afterthought, a box to tick. They think risk management is about not risking more than 2% per trade. That's not risk management. That's babysitting. Real risk management, the kind Taleb points to, is about asymmetry. It's about positioning yourself so that when the unexpected happens, you're not wiped out. You're empowered. It's about designing positions and structures that limit your downside but leave your upside open. That's what anti-fragility is about. Not just surviving shocks, but using shocks to grow stronger. Think of it this way. The average trader prays for calm conditions. The intentional trader, the one who understands Taleb's truth, is prepared for storms. Why? Because storms are inevitable. You don't control them, you structure for them. But let's get even deeper. Traders love to quote Taleb's ideas to sound intellectual. They'll throw around Black Swan in a forum. They'll nod when someone mentions uncertainty. But in practice, they're still stuck chasing accuracy. They're still hunting for the perfect system that will predict the next move. They still want to eliminate losses as if the market will ever bow to their desire for perfection. That's the tragedy. You can read a book and still live blind. Here's what Taleb wanted you to see. Accuracy is not the goal. Survivability is. Think about casinos. They don't predict the next roll of the dice. They structure the game so the odds always favor the house. It's not about knowing when a player will win. It's about designing a system where, over time, the unexpected never bankrupts them. That's how you should approach trading. Structure, not prediction. Resilience, not certainty. So let me ask you a question. Are you still living as if the next Black Swan won't happen to you? Are you still designing your trades, your capital, your psychology, your process as if the market will cooperate with your expectations? Because if you are, you're already in the danger zone. Taleb also points out another blindness. We underestimate the magnitude of what we don't know. And in trading, this is lethal. You've seen traders blow accounts not because of one bad trade, but because they assumed they knew the boundaries of risk. But reality doesn't respect your boundaries. The euro can gap 500 pips in a night. The yen can swing without mercy. Your stop loss can be skipped. And yet, traders build systems assuming the world is neat, tame, and measurable. That's what kills them. The solution? Build a philosophy of risk that assumes the worst can and will happen. Build an execution model that keeps you alive when the rare event strikes. Build mental frameworks that don't crumble when the narrative you trusted collapses. This is what traders missed in the Black Swan. They thought it was about identifying rare events. No, it's about accepting that rare events define the game and structuring accordingly. Let's flip this into psychology for a moment. Many traders are addicted to the rush of being right. They want the dopamine hit of accuracy. But Taleb is telling you, stop obsessing over being right. Obsess over staying in the game. Because markets are not kind to egos. They reward structure, not prediction. They reward resilience, not arrogance. And I know some of you are thinking, but if I can't predict, what's the point? The point is design. The point is asymmetry. The point is to stop building fragile systems and start building intentional ones. You can't control the Black Swan, but you can control how you respond when it lands. You can't know when the unexpected will strike, but you can make sure it doesn't destroy you. And better still, you can position yourself to benefit. Let me give you a raw truth. Every trader you admire, every fund that survives decades, doesn't survive because of prediction. They survive because of structure, because they know that one shock can erase years of profit if you're unprepared. So what's the real takeaway? Stop asking, how do I predict the next move? Start asking, how do I structure myself so the next shock doesn't kill me, but strengthens me? That's the only truth traders missed in the Black Swan. And until you internalize it, until you redesign your trading life around it, you'll keep living in cycles of boom and bust. And let me say this directly. The rebels who will thrive are not the ones with the sharpest predictions. They're the ones who can take a punch and still move forward. They're the ones who design for chaos, not stability. They're the ones who understand that the market doesn't owe you predictability. It owes you nothing. And your only chance is intentional structure. This is why we at Trading Rebels keep telling you, accuracy won't make you rich, prediction is a lie. Structure is your only weapon. Taleb's book was screaming this truth, but most of the trading world didn't hear it. You just did. And now I'll challenge you. Don't let this be another piece of knowledge you collect. Make it the shift that rewires how you trade. Rethink your risk, rethink your process, rethink your resilience. Because the next Black Swan isn't a question of if, it's a question of when. And if you're unprepared, you won't get a second chance. If you're ready to build structure that can withstand chaos, if you're ready to stop chasing predictions and start commanding probability, then you're exactly where you need to be. This is Trading Rebels, where we strip away illusions, expose the lies traders cling to, and build something that actually lasts. If this truth shook you, share it. Leave a comment with the hardest lesson the market ever taught you. I want to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next episode will break down another book you thought you understood but missed the core of.